My sister cut me out of the family business the week before the buyout closed, then texted me 2 months later asking if I'd come to the signing dinner. I told her I'd already given away the one thing she still needed. I'm 26. My sister Renata is 34. Our dad ran a small commercial cleaning company for 31 years. 11 trucks, 40-some employees, most of them people he'd hired personally. When his back gave out 4 years ago, Renata took over operations and I took everything else nobody wanted. Scheduling, payroll, the 4 a.m. calls when a crew didn't show at a hospital. I did it for a manager's wage while she drew an owner's salary because dad said we'd sort out the paperwork later and I was 22 and trusted my family. Last spring, a regional company started sniffing around to buy us out. Renata handled the negotiations. I put together 4 years of route data, client retention numbers, and staffing records because the buyers wanted documentation and exactly one person had it. 6 weeks before closing, Renata came to my apartment with a folder. She said the buyers wanted a clean cap table. Since I'd never been formally added as an owner, just an employee, the smoothest path was for me to sign a document confirming I had no equity claim. I asked what I'd get. She said I'd keep my job under the new owners. She said Dad's health was fragile and a fight would kill him. She said we'd square up privately afterward, family to family. I looked at her and asked if she'd put that in writing. She laughed and said, "You'll understand this stuff when you're older." I'm 26. She's 8 years older. That's the whole gap she was standing on. I signed it. I signed it because my dad was 3 weeks out from a spinal surgery, and I could not put that on him. The deal closed in June for a number I learned later from a former employee, not from my sister. She got all of it. I got a form letter welcoming me to the team. I quit in July. Here's the part she forgot. Every operational record for that company lived in a system I built and maintained myself. Routes, client histories, quote formulas, the whole staffing matrix. Dad never digitized anything before me. The buyers had bought a company they couldn't run, and the transition agreement gave them 90 days of my cooperation. I gave them exactly what the agreement required and not 1 minute more. In August, they started losing accounts. 3 hospitals, a school district, a distribution center, the big ones, with the strange schedules that lived in my head and nowhere else. Their transition team called me 4 times. I told them politely that I no longer worked there. Then in September, Renata texted the family thread. Signing dinner Saturday, Fiorello's, 7 o'clock. Everybody needs to be there. Fiorello's is where we went for my parents' 40th, where a plate is $70. Mom texted me privately asking if I was coming. I told her no. She said it's just dinner. I told her I don't celebrate things I was written out of. At 7:40, the text started. My uncle, my aunt, my grandmother asking if I was feeling okay. At 8:20, Renata called. "Everybody's here but you. This is embarrassing. You had me sign away 4 years. Are you still on that? We did what the buyers wanted. They wanted one person to have no claim. There was one person that applied to. You're being dramatic." That's when I stopped feeling anything about it. "Renata, did you tell them why the accounts are leaving?" Silence. "The consulting group that's been calling you since August, the one the buyers hired to rebuild the operational system. They contacted me in July. I turned them down. So last month, I gave everything I had to Dad's old foreman. Every process document, every quote formula, all of it. He started his own outfit in August. 3 of those hospitals are his now. So is the school district." She said I was lying. I told her to look at who's servicing the North Campus contract and hung up. Mom called 20 minutes later and asked me if it was true. I told her yes. She was quiet a second, then said, "Good. Your father told her that paperwork was cruel." She wouldn't listen. Dad got on. He said the foreman was the best man he ever hired and that he'd have done the same. Half that table left within the hour. Renata texted at midnight that we needed to talk. I didn't answer. She called the next morning and said she'd been wrong, that she should have made it right, that she was sorry. I told her okay. Just okay? The deal's closed. The money's hers. I've moved on. She said we're family. I said yeah, that's what I thought too.